This isn't like many, many, many years down the road. This is pretty recent, right? So you read this, and I feel like part of me goes, oh, I'm just so sad for them. It's like, come on, why did they miss this? So I'd like to show another clip. This one is not as graphic, I promise. Let's see here. All right, this is another one of Gollum. This is later in the movie.
Go away! I hate you. Where would you be without me? Where? I lost. It was me. You survived because of me.
I love the collective when he said poor guy, right? You really feel for him. And so you saw him in the very first clip of where he was to start, right? Happy life, everything's cool. Then this ring kind of takes over his entire life. He bases everything of who he is on this ring, this little thing. And you see where it leads to, right? And in that scene, you see him consumed by it, fighting with himself. He's like Schmeagol and Gollum, right? And I love the dialogue back and forth of how that plays out. And so in Exodus, we see this, that the Israelites start to build who they are on this false God. And our God is not okay with that, and that happens, kind of plays out after that. God is not okay with them doing that. But I think also when we think about worship, it's more than just musical worship, right? You know, you think about worship, great. I'm glad we're going to talk about worship because we're going to talk about music. Well, this is different. This is worship as a lifestyle. So talking about what worship really is. So we are creatures of worship, and if we base our lives on something that is not the Lord, it leads to destruction. It just leads to places that aren't good. And so we have a choice in that we can choose life with Christ, life towards Christ, or if we base the rest of our life on something that is not the Lord, it leads to destruction. And so I have a little diagram here for us. Ooh, English majors are going, yeah. Yeah. So let's dialogue a little bit. What are some things that we worship? What are some things that we bend our lives around? That whatever it could be. Well, just throw out some ideas. What are some things that we worship?
School.
School. Yes. School. I'm writing down. Yes. School. What else do we worship?
Ourselves.
I'm gonna use the paper in a little bit. So, okay, school. What else do we worship? Relationships. Good. Great. Let's narrow that down some more. What kind of relationships?
Well, it could be like a boyfriend and girlfriend, but it could just be a friendship.
Yeah. So friends. Good. Okay. Good. Significant other, if that's your situation, right? It's a reality. I'm married. If Lauren, my wife's name is Lauren, if she is the only thing I live for, that's not good, right? If she replaces God, you're in. Okay, what else?
Materialistic stuff.
Yeah, stuff. Good. What kind of stuff is there that we worship? Let's name some specific things.
Money.
Money. Yes, we do worship money. Good. Other materialistic things.
Technology.
Yeah. Facebook.
Entertainment.
That's not me saying get rid of Facebook. That's not always the answer. I love Facebook. But if Facebook consumes you all the time, it's not the best thing, right? Or like, how many times a day do I check my email? How much time do I waste surfing the internet? Like surfing like game websites and like all these other things. You know, like just wasted time down it. What are some other things we worship? Job, yeah, great. You guys may not be experiencing that yet, but we define ourselves a lot by what we do. Like that's where we find our worth. Right? So I'm only worthwhile if I have an attractive job that the world sees as good. If I'm getting paid this much money, then it's acceptable to my parents, to my friends, to anyone else that I meet, and they say, hey, what do you do? What's your profession? And I say it to them, and then they go, oh, good. It's not that weird, like, oh, what is that? Oh, that's what you do for a living? Right? How do we define ourselves with that? What are some other things we worship?
Ourselves.
Us. Yes. Me, me, me. I had a choir director in high school. He would always, whenever he did something really well, he'd go, I'm so great. And kiss himself. It was a little weird. Good. What else do we worship? Food. Food? Yeah. Right. Food can end up in an improper place, right? You know, food is necessary for life, right? For us to survive. But all of a sudden, if it is not in its proper place, overeating can happen, or undereating, right? All these different things. When food is not in its proper place.
Another thing to go with the food is like, well, I've heard about this lesson earlier this week. We talked about the time, like we're all impatient. We want it now, like the readiness of things. That's why we're all going to these fast food stuff.
Good.
That's another thing that we worship is just the convenience of things right at the tip of your fingers.
We're totally consumers. We are totally consumers. Yeah. That's a good word, Chelsea. What else do we worship?
Celebrities, people.
Yeah. People. Yeah, celebrities. Good, good. Yeah. Yeah. How many of you watched some of those, or have seen the, what is it? I can't think of the name. Like
True Hollywood Stories?
True Hollywood Story, yeah. Like Chelsea, I'm trying to think of some of the other shows I have. And like, it's just like, who is Brad and Angelina? And, yeah, I mean, at the supermarket, you know, all the things you see, it's like, people are consumed with that, right? What else do we worship? Yeah.
What if it's making some ideas?
Ideas.
Concepts and stories.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good. I might take that one step further, knowing things, like knowledge. Yeah. We totally worship knowledge. Yep. So, I mean, I know there's sometimes you're in a class and a professor, you know, it's like, how can you prove that God exists, right? Or things like that, like, you know, proof, or we just, if we know things, even, let's even talk about, like, knowing things in Scripture. I know, like, if I know a verse and I'm getting into it with someone else, I have this moment in my mind where I'm like, I know what this means. Yeah, I've got this one. It's like, that's so busted. That's so messed up, right? I'm worshiping this idea of, like, knowledge. What else do we worship?
Superiority.
Superiority.
Always trying to be better than someone else.
Power.
Yeah, that's good. Very good. Superiority and power. I'm even going to put with that popularity. I feel like we worship that too. Like what others see us, that may be a different one, but right, how people view us, it's kind of a big deal. Yeah. Would you all agree with that?
Yeah.
Would you all definitely agree with that? I'm definitely a people pleaser, and that is something I worship. I worship what other people think of me, and I will bend myself around backwards to make people like me. That is worship, right? And that's a form of worship. There's one that we are definitely missing,